Hello everyone and welcome to today's STPL. We'll be here for another 3 matchups. One of them, our first one, is going to be a little bit quicker than what we maybe need to see. But essentially, there was 2 walkovers in set number 1. BuLL unfortunately could not make it, but we still have the opportunity to go to an ace match depending on how the first couple of games will end up going. Now, I'm going to do it in order, so essentially we'll just pretend that set 2 and 3 don't happen. But essentially, if obviously, if BuLL can win set 1, we still have a chance of going to an ace match. But if they cannot, then we will still do set 4, but we'll just do it as we normally would. We'll skip the first or the second 2 games. But essentially, let's have a look at our first matchup here. And thank you, Dreamer. That means a lot. We've got NiCe here for NiCe, obviously. They are one of our newer teams in Season 2. They've been doing okay. They've not done the best, but they're still kind of there in the middle of, well, not in the middle of the table. They're at the lower end, but everything is so close together at the moment. There's still a big chance that they may be able to make it to the playoffs at the end of the season. And the other team here that's doing super well is going to be BuLL. Now, BuLL in Season 1 didn't do all that well, given the fact they've only won 10 of their series overall, and they've only played 4 series so far in Season 2. Means they didn't win that many in Season 1, and they were there from round 2, and that was around about 12 months of playing. So BuLL definitely on the up. Their Terran especially doing the best for them there so far in Season 2 and Season 1 as well. So luckily enough, we'll get to see one of their Terran players today, as we're going to start off with a ZVT between STPL from NiCe and Reyna from BuLL on Neo Arkanoid. That should be pretty cool. Set 2 was a walkover in favor of NiCe because Flymeo did not show up for some reason. Chef Kev gets the walkover over Wapple because Wapple also couldn't show up. And we're going to head into a PvZ between Good and Dark on New Outlier. Definitely one of my favorite PvZ maps so far this season. And also, we've seen a ton of PvZ on there. A lot of Zergs, a lot of Protoss being sent off on that map. And you can see why when we get into the game. But let's actually have a look at our first map here. We'll do the map introduction first, and then we'll do the player introductions. Essentially, we're going to be going into Neo Arkanoid for this TVZ. Terran are 3-1 up against Zerg, but we do have Essen here. Now, Essen, the last time we played this map, he actually did a Ling all-in a ZVZ and won by busting through all the buildings in the middle. So let's see if he goes for something here. Let's actually give him a quick introduction. He played up against Ozina on Desperado. Then he went up against Blade. It doesn't really matter all of his games, obviously, you can see them there. But essentially, he's got a 60% win rate for his team. He is 1-0 against Terran, which is the important statistic here. And his opponent is going to be Reyna. Now, Reyna, definitely one of the stronger players on BuLL. 59% win rate overall. He's won 13 of his overall games. And you can see in his last 10 games, he's actually won 7 of them. So definitely a very strong component to the BuLL roster. And I'm looking forward to getting into his game as we head into game number 1. It's Essen versus Reyna. Okay, starting us off here in the top left-hand position, we do have the Cyan Terran fighting for BuLL. It's Reyna. And his opponent spawning down here in the bottom left-hand position, we do have the pink Zerg fighting for NiCe. It's Essen. Now, I don't know if you just noticed, I've actually leveled up the stats box in the bottom right just a little bit. I added a little bit of animation when it goes in, and it's also going to switch through to some additional statistics. So if you see anything there that you think may be useful to add on, just let me know and I'll look to add them. Now, both players playing relatively standard so far. Nothing too crazy. Of course, it is Neo Arkanoid, which makes it very difficult to be able to play super aggressive. But we'll have to see if Essen is going to go for an early pull here, or if he is just going to go for a hatchery. Sorry, I'm also trying to keep an eye on my OBS just to see if this animation thing actually works properly. Be swapping over any second now, and then we'll have a look back at the game. Yeah, it's kind of funny, I test all this stuff before, like we obviously cast, but it's not until you're actually in the cast that you're like, oh my god, is everything going to go wrong? Now it looks like Reyna is definitely going to be going for a CC first here. We have a pull coming in on 9 here for Essen after a 9 hatchery. So Essen is going to do the same build he did against Praise on this map, which should be very, very cool. Against Praise, of course, it was a ZVZ, but we saw Praise try and go for a very early hatchery. And he got caught off guard by the fact that there was Lynx at his base within like 4 minutes or so. So this could be a very quick game. Now, has Essen seen the SCV? I don't think it would have done. It is over the pizza wedge at the moment. But he has got very lucky in the fact he will scout the Terran player first of all. As you can see, he sees the barracks coming up. And that is super, super important, because when you're trying to break through the middle of the map as quick as humanly possible, you are going to want to make your way through in the correct direction, because every second counts with this kind of build. Now, I don't know if any of you guys were watching the BlizzCon opening ceremony as well. It's kind of surreal to think this time last year I was actually there. This year, obviously, I'm back at home, so STPL does continue. To be honest, last year it was a bit of a problem. I had to, like, slow everything down to go to BlizzCon, and STPL fell back by a couple of weeks. Yeah, we're here this time. Hopefully, a lot of people are hot off the hype of Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2 and everything. Looks really cool. Like, Overwatch was one of the games that kind of got me involved with my sort of main group of friends now, so it has like kind of a special place in my heart, much like WoW did as well for the longest time. And I'm hoping we'll all sort of jump on that bandwagon again when we played Overwatch for a while. But I mean, look at Essen. He's just pushing through the map incredibly quickly. It is surprisingly effective to break through super fast. Like, it doesn't look like it should be, but you chew through these buildings so quickly. They're not stacked. And genuinely, I think Essen may just win with this. Look at this. Reyna's lifted his barracks. He's not going for any units back at home. He's got a factory building and an academy. But that factory is not done. He is not going to have any form of units to be able to deal with this. And he can't scout that this is coming. The barracks flew away. He's got a CC down here that's not going to help him. And look at this, Essen's going to break his way through. And yeah, look how quickly the Lynx are just eating through this temple right now, and there's so many of them. I think Reyna just GG's here. I don't think he can hold on. He's going for an engineering bay and a starport, none of which are going to help you against all these Lynx. He is probably very confused at how Essen managed to break through so quickly. I know I would be if I hadn't have seen Essen's previous game. And there we go, Reyna leaves the game. GG. Essen takes game number 1. Well guys, of course I did warn you guys about that every time we've started this after we saw that ZVZ. And it's happened again. Essen getting the win there in game number 1. That is going to give it's going to give NiCe the win in the series, just because we did have 2 walkovers. But it's fine, because we do have a single game still coming. I'm going to just immediately go into it, because that was a 4-minute game. Seems a little bit cheeky to like go to a break and stuff when there's absolutely no point. Let's actually quickly introduce the map first. I'm just going to kind of stick with that order, I think, today. And then we'll have a look at the players. But having a look at our map, we're going to be going into Neo Outlier. It's going to be a ZVP. Now, ZVP on this map is very, very fun. According to the statistics, though, Protoss definitely have a very, very big lead statistically over Zerg here, obviously. 7 for 4. We saw an amazing ZVP here on Wednesday between Jim and DK. That was very, very fun. Jim rushing Mass Ling into Mass Ultra. One of the weirdest ZVPs I've seen in a while. But today, we're going to be having a look at two different players. One of them, both of them actually have played in the STPL before, so you should know who they are. And I've clicked the wrong button. Here we go. Let's have a look at the player history now. Good has only played one game for NiCe, so not too much to say there. He did lose against Eriador, but that's nothing to be ashamed of. Obviously, Eriador, a very, very strong player. And his opponent for BuLL is going to be Dark. Now, Dark has played quite a bit. He's only won 6 of his games overall, and he only has a 37% win ratio. But he has won 5 out of his 10 last games, so certainly on an upswing here. As we get into game number 2, it's Dark versus Good on Neo Outlier. Okay, starting us off here in the top middle position, we do have the Green Zerg fighting from Bolivia for BuLL. It's Dark. Thank you, Fuchsia, for the 10-bit cheer, man. Means a lot. And his opponent spawning down here in the Royal Navy, fighting from South Korea, I believe. I may be wrong on that. I think someone may have corrected me about one of their players. But it's going to be Good, fighting for NiCe. Okay, so I hope we have a little bit of a longer game after that previous one. The last one wasn't... Okay, so another interesting statistic I found out recently is the shortest STPL game is actually nowhere near 4 minutes. It was around... as a matter of fact, I have like a thing for this. Let me just quickly bring it up, because I really do want to tell you guys what it was. I think it's something like 2 minutes 30 the game ended in, which is just absolutely ridiculous. Like, how can a game possibly be that short? I don't know, it's just one of those amazing things. One of those things that comes up every once in a while, and it's like, okay, so I guess this is kind of crazy, but it's cool. One of the things I've been looking to do recently is adding a lot more statistics to the broadcast, add a lot more statistics to Liquipedia and everything. So it's kind of cool. Where do I have that? Here we go. Let's have a look. So the fastest game was Eon Zerg versus YSC, and it was on Hitchhiker. It was actually from the Christmas Cup, I believe, rather than the actual main tournament, and it was 2 minutes and 40. And the next highest was Tai2 versus Terra at 3 minutes 10. Now, the crazy thing is, like, the longest games, the list of those is kind of strange, but the highest is obviously that TBT we had a couple of weeks ago, where essentially it went on for 1 hour and 6 minutes, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, it's weird. Like, when I was putting through the list of durations and everything, and when I was trying to work out what the longest and shortest games were, I didn't realize we'd only had one game over 1 hour. It felt like there'd been tons of them, but some of them are really close, like a lot around 40 minutes, and a lot of them are made by certain individual players, like Radley, because he obviously plays a lot of really cool late game styles and stuff like that. But in terms of this game, Dark has gone for an overpull into a hatchery, into an extractor, so that's super important. Going to get the Lings out a little bit earlier to help defend against any early aggression. Now, there isn't going to be any of that coming up for Good, as he is going to a Forge Nexus into a Gateway. Okay, we see one interesting thing here from Dark. Dark opting to do what a lot of the Zerg players have done on this map, and opting to build a third hatchery in the middle base. Now, looking at the architecture of the map, this base does seem very open, but if we have a look at where you actually have to go as Protoss, you can either push directly through this small ramp, or you can go the whole way around and assault this base. Now, by controlling this base, you get creep closer to the ramp, so you can put some Sunkens down here if you want to, or you can block the main path here, and that will protect your natural as well, so because it allows you to keep all of your units on the ramp, making it a little bit harder for the Protoss to push through. Now, we don't see a lair just yet. Oh, sorry, we do see a lair. I've actually clicked on it, and it's in the natural. Now, the probe did just about see that before it went down, so it's kind of an important distinction to make. So Good should know he's going to be fairly safe for the time being. Now, are we going to see... We are going to see a Stargate first, or is it going to be a Citadel first? Now, Protoss players recently have actually been going a lot of Citadel first here into really fast Templar tech. Now, with Dark, I'm not really 100% sure on what his style is going to be from here. I think he'll probably play a little bit more straight up. You can obviously add another hatchery here to add onto the wall. 5 hatch play is probably going to be quite standard. Now, good is going to go for the early Corsair. This is not only good for scouting, but it also gives you the ability to deal with any possible muteless. Now, this is probably going to be a Spire. Yep, there it is. This could just be for some Scourge. Or if we see this second gas taken quite quickly, it could be for a muteless build here, which is very good. And yeah, Stuff Pink, this is live replays. Essentially, if you've not seen the STPL before, it is a massive global team league. We have 14 teams, 7 best of 5s are played a week. So it'd essentially be physically impossible to cast them all in one day. So I cast Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 2100 CET, 2000 GMT my time. And essentially we just try and go through as many best of 5s as we can. So usually it's 2 on Monday, 2 on Wednesday, and 3 on Friday. It's kind of cool. Today we're actually going to have a rematch of the 2 grand finalists from Season 1, White Clan and Soul Gaming, which is kind of cool. Looking forward to that one. Both those teams have very, very good players, including some very top Korean amateur players as well as pro players as well. So if you saw the KSL today, I think it was, you would have seen Best, and Best is actually a member of White and has played in the STPL before. In fact, the final game of the Season 1 Grand Finals was between White Best and Soul's Noob, Noob being Ajak 12, one of the other old ex-pros. And it came down to the final game in the Ace match, which was their game, and Noob managed to take it with a DT versus TT game, which was just completely bonkers. It was a lot of fun. Now, where are we going from here? So we have an additional hatchery being added on at the main, and additional hatchery being added on at the natural. So it's going to be 5 hatch Hydralisk play here. The Scourge obviously going to be used to try and counteract the usage of these Corsairs. Kind of important to do that in case you'll get supply blocked. Yeah, White Best is not the best name, but it's more Best White. White goes after, although they've changed it recently, so it is before. Yeah, White Clan is a Korean clan. They've been around since 1998, and admittedly, in English their name isn't that great, but to a Korean it probably sounds really cool. I know White. I'm actually a member of White. Flag is... sorry. Dark is Bolivian. And Bonith is included in today's lineup. We'll be seeing his game in the final series of today. That's going to be Soul versus White. Next game we're going to have Rev versus NetWars. So that'll be kind of cool. But looks like we are going to have these Zealots pushing into the third base. A lot of drones and Hydras have actually gone down so far. One of the hatcheries being targeted down. There was a single sunken here, but it wasn't enough. And it looks like the Hydras are actually struggling a little bit here. This is a very, very tense situation for Dark to be in. But if NiCe Good can do enough damage here, he is going to be taking his team 4-0, and he's doing a ton of damage so far. Now more and more Zealots going to come in to reinforce this. This is kind of like one of the KSL games we saw earlier, where a player really shouldn't be able to just win with just Zealots. But it looks like Good is doing it. He's doing an amazing job so far. Going to get one of the hatcheries here at the third base. That's going to hurt the Zerg production, and he can actually push the boundary here with the Zealots. I'm trying to think of the right term for it. But either way, looks like the Zealots are eventually going to get cleaned up, but the Hydra's not the best unit to deal with Zealots on their own. They need some buffer. They need some Sim City in front of them. And looks like the other third base hatchery could possibly go down. No, it looks like Good wants to continue on his aggression. He's going to try and take down as many of these Hydras as possible. Some of them actually getting caught off in the corner. Nice pullback, but there's no wall. And it's going to be very, very difficult for these Hydras to deal with the Zealots still. We don't see any more rallied over just yet. So this looks like it is going to be the end of the aggression for now. But just how much damage is Dark going to have to take before he can hold on? Here we go, there is some more Zealots coming in. There's actually a Dark Templar in with this as well. And if the DT gets on top of the hatchery, luckily enough Overlord speed is done. But this is certainly not a good position for Dark. He's been trading away a lot of units. The DT looks like it wants to try and get into the natural, but already an Overlord in position. So Dark is going to be able to survive. He saves his third hatchery at his third base. So he will be able to resume mining there, which is super, super important. Oh, from chat, yeah. Thing is, if you haven't followed Brood War for a very long time, or you don't really follow the Korean scene, you probably wouldn't know who White Clan are. One of the best things that I think White Clan have done, and I know this is obviously very biased, but I'm very happy that they signed up to STPL in Season 1. Essentially what they want to do is bridge the gap between the Korean and the foreign scenes, and I think that's a really good initiative, and it's one of the reasons why tournaments like STPL have at you as well. Obviously tournaments like BSL is super, super important because it's very good to have like tournaments that kind of shore up the foreign scene. Obviously you need something to give foreigners or non-Korean players to actually play for, which is why Corrupted Cup was so good as well. But I think having tournaments where Koreans and foreigners mix is also very important as well. And one of the things I've noted from Season 1 to Season 2 is at the beginning of Season 1, nobody could beat Seoul, nobody could beat White Clan. And near the end of Season 1, all of the foreign teams started doing a hell of a lot better. Now here we go, we've got another engagement with Zealots coming in, a huge storm on top of the Hydras at the back. And once again, another brilliant storm, good, with some really good storms, excuse the pun. And he breaks through that massive Hydra ball. And look at this, he's just going to march straight over to this third base again. There's only a single sunken. He's not actually mining from there, so that's something. But if he loses this base, he is going to be in a dire situation if he wasn't already. With Good taking a third base in the kind of islandy area at the back, it looks like Good is going to win this game. I don't really see how Dark could possibly come back from this. The Zealots with their +1. Oh, he's got +2 already. Doing so much damage. The base goes down. And all Good has to do is expand, get more ahead, and just consolidate his army for another big push. Now, unfortunately, there was nothing that could shoot up to kill the Corsair, kill the Overlord even. But that's another massive storm on top of the Hydralisks. And surely Dark has got to be close to tapping out here. We've got no Hive coming in, obviously. He cannot afford it. There's only a single sunken back here. The Hydras are having trouble getting back through their own Sim City, given the traffic jam. And Good is going to be able to take down the Overlords in the middle of the map. And as soon as he does this, he is going to possibly supply block Dark. And his DTs are going to be able to start to wreak havoc. And now Good is actually sending a few DTs around the edge of the map just to check there's no hidden bases or anything like that. But you see this island, well, semi-island expansion hidden behind these temples on both here and over here is going to be completely unassailable for our Zerg player here. And Dark is really in a poor situation, unfortunately. Down to 44 supply and supply blocked. 2 Scourge going to head out and try and scout to see what kind of situation he's actually in. And they are not going to like what they see. Now, we finally have a couple of lurkers coming in. That will help a little bit. But yeah, a little bit unfortunate. Observer coming in, checking for a third base as well, just in case. We just saw Good use the pylon trick to push his probe over the minerals, which allow him to expand to this main, as well as possibly go and check the other island base as well, just to be sure. But unfortunately, I think this push from from good is just going to end the game. Like, I don't see any possible way of any comeback here for Dark, unfortunately. Usually I am very optimistic. I mean, this is such a massive army. He's almost 100 supply ahead. Dark doesn't even have a third base up here. He's got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lurkers. None of them are, or 2 of them are burrowed, but a lot of them are getting clumped up in a storm. And this is definitely a problem. There's an observer here. All of the lurkers are going to go down, and so are Dark's hopes in this game. Unfortunately, with the 2-game walkover in this series, the first walkovers we've had in round 2, or in season 2, sorry, Dark is going to tap out, and that's going to end the series 4-0 in favor of NiCe. Now let's actually kick it over to the results screen to have a quick look at how the series played out. Obviously, we did have a couple of walkover series. That's obviously not the best thing, but sometimes things happen. The players couldn't make their games, and they couldn't actually manage to rearrange them either. So SN winning over Reina in an incredibly quick game number 1. Astro and Chef Kev winning in walkover victories, and Good taking down Dark in game number 4, as that gives NiCe a 4-0 victory over BuLL. And that's going to take us into series number 2. It's Rev versus NetWars, and we will see the debut of Avi, who is in chat right now. So he probably won his game, if we're going to spoil something, because he's here to watch. But we'll be back in a few minutes with Rev versus NetWars. Don't